2023 was an excellent year of flying. Throughout this time, I've been meaning to complete the coverage of this year's flights. Therefore, we'll be spending today covering my final flights of 2023 in October, November, and December. This stretch in Q4 brought plenty of variety, some new airline collectible shows, rare aircraft types, a vintage Douglas DC-3, and even a ULCC day trip with Spirit and Frontier. Let's get started. Trip number 1 was the Atlanta Airline Collectibles Show of 2023. As we kick this off, this is one of my favorite events of the year for collecting models, various aviation collectible items, and memorabilia. Flight number 1 was the Delta Airlines Boeing 717-200, registered November 608 Alpha Tango, in seat 26A. We're going to be flying Delta Airlines Flight 1235 from Tulsa to Atlanta, once again operated by the beautiful Mad Pup. I flew this registration, which previously flew for TWA in 2000. These Mad Pups are getting more and more scarce, so I always love catching them and flying them while I still can. We'll see plenty of examples from Hawaiian and Delta from here on out, so certainly stay tuned, but it's definitely not a bummer any day we get to fly these. Once again in seat 26A, right behind the engine, or right behind the wing with the great view of the engine, this is a great place to hear the sound of the JT8D engine wind on takeoff. The flight was smooth, great weather for cruising, and an on-time arrival into Atlanta. It's also worth noting that this was my first time doing the Tulsa to Atlanta segment with Delta's Boeing 717. From here, I met up with Syracuse Aviation and we had a great time at the Atlanta Collectibles Show. Check out the full video for the coverage there. Our next flight would take us on Delta Airlines Flight 1592, operated by a Boeing 757-200, registered November 658 Delta Lima, in seat 17A, a Delta Comfort Plus seat. After the collectible show, we continued on one of my favorite aircraft types here. Once again, this registration, November 658 Delta Lima, has actually been in the Delta fleet since 1990, believe it or not, making it one of their oldest active aircraft. The Boeing 757's takeoff power is always a thrill, especially ahead of the engine, with a quick rotation and plenty of climb performance. Like the first flight, the cabin was great, clean in-flight service, and the view over the Appalachian Mountains on descent into Baltimore made for an excellent end to the day. Now, it's also worth noting once again that I have covered the Delta 757 product before on the 300 variant, so check out that trip report if you're interested. But regardless, this is a great product, highly recommended, and you can see some of the clips and whatnot of how awesome it truly is. That being said, after a really fun time at Washington Dulles checking out their museum, along with plane spotting all kinds of international wide bodies, it was time to reposition back to the west, using a nice combo of Southwest Airlines flights to get home from the East Coast. So our first flight to take a look at here was making a flight, if I can get my zoom correct. I'm so sorry everybody, the pages overlapped each other here. This is quite news. But anyway, now I can tell you all about our flight. This is our Southwest 737-800 and this is registered November 8559 Quebec. WN Flight 2554 is one of the most unique segments during this time on October 9th, 2023, from Washington Dulles to Denver. You wouldn't expect Southwest to fly this, but this was a route at that time, and I was able to get an early bird check-in, so I got seat 7F. So it was certainly a fantastic day in the area, but now it's time to make our way home, and once again, seat 7F gave some really nice wing engine combo views throughout the flight, and it was a nice night flight, and I was able to work on some various items on my computer and enjoyed the mood lighting in the various service. We've been on many Southwest flights. There's no need for any crazy additional explanation, but what I do want to say is that the 737 cabin here, as you see in the video, provided an excellent ride out to Colorado. And then our final flight is yet another Southwest aircraft, the 737-700, registered November 469 Whiskey November, in seat 10F would be the ride here. But anyway, this is a great aircraft for this late night service. 19 years old in this aircraft, and has been with Southwest her entire career. And this is one of my favorite variants for sure on the 737-700. Really fun for these short hops like TUL with a good climb rate, quick turnaround times, and a smooth ride as we arrived back into Tulsa just after midnight. The next section of flights to work on after our really fun time there with Southwest includes our American Airlines Douglas DC-3 flagship Detroit flights. And let me tell you, these are so much fun, and I'm so glad that we got to participate with the flagship Detroit Foundation once again. On November 11th of 2023, Veterans Day in fact, we were able to do a scenic flight around the Tulsa area on American Airlines' flagship Detroit Douglas DC-3. This was a very similar experience to the 2022 outing, which I have a video of on my channel if you want the full experience. But nevertheless, this was a really cool short scenic route around Tulsa that lasted about 25 minutes. Really cool to get this piece of aviation history. It's such an absolute bucket list item to check out every time, and I'm so glad that we got this really cool opportunity. It's always great to hear their volunteers talk on the aircraft and really what they're all about, and I've been very inspired and moved by all of what they do. That said, the engine rumble, the low altitude flying, and the original cabin made it feel like we were stepping back into the golden age of aviation. Definitely check this video out, and I think I have a playlist on my channel as well if you're interested in more information on what this looks like. That being said, let's go ahead and take it on to our next trip of this video, and that's going to be the Fall Collectible Show 2023 for Chicago O'Hare, Chicagoland. Always love this one. So just 5 days after that American DC-3 experience, we were back in the skies as we made the trek up to Chicago for the biannual collectible show. The first flight that we would take to accomplish this is going to be a Southwest 737-700 November 7866 Alpha in seat 17F on WN 2438. So a nice early evening departure here, and we were able to take a look at all what was going on this evening. So this aircraft flew for multiple airlines actually, including Virgin Blue, Virgin Australia, and even Airlines Argentinas before being delivered to Southwest in September 2017. Standard ride on the 700. This was an evening service, did some computer work, and we made it into a somewhat smooth sky here in Colorado on this evening. After yet another short, or actually this was a no plane change actually, this was the same registration that felt like a no plane change, but we did have to deplane, ended up being the same plane. On WN 2639 to Indianapolis on this aircraft, so love to see it here. And once again, a very nice aircraft. We actually spent some additional time on, or it was a very quick time on the ground, I meant to say 49 minutes. So very simple, always great to be on. The night flights are peaceful and they are very enjoyable, especially when those cabin lights dim. You just got the window seat. This was before I could sleep on planes, so I was able to do some computer work and it all came together very well. So no complaints on my side. And then the next flight that we take it on to after the Chicago show, which once again, check out that video on my channel. It's a great show, recommend it very much. We'll be taking it on from Indianapolis back to Chicago O'Hare. Was able to meet up with a friend and, put this all together nicely. So anyway, this is going to be our first American flight of the day. It's going to be November 760 Uniform Sierra, which is a Airbus A319 on AA 1070, seat 18A. So it was great to get this American A319 right back to Chicago. Really cool that they have mainline on such a short flight. This is just about 20 minutes or so. 23-year-old aircraft. This was delivered to U.S. Airways in November of 2000. And the A319 is a great plane, even for some of these shorter flights between the medium-sized cities and the major hub airport. And I was very happy to welcome back to Chicago O'Hare on a beautiful, clear November day. That took us on to our next flight on American Airlines Boeing 787-9. Always a blast to get this out of Chicago. This aircraft on AA 1674 is November 826 Alpha November in seat 33 Lima, and it's so fun to get a domestic wide body. I love the 787, such a capable aircraft. Just my second time flying this aircraft, and the first time was actually from Dallas to Miami, so be sure to check that video out if you didn't get a chance to see it. But nevertheless, this was built in Charleston, South Carolina. And this is a really great aircraft. It was 6.5 years old for the ride from Chicago to Dallas-Fort Worth International. And to go along with this, it's also worth noting that this aircraft is a real treat for any aviation enthusiast. A quiet cabin, really nice windows, along with a great quality ride. Definitely one of my favorite flights of the year, and I very much enjoyed it. And after a pretty subtle Dallas-Fort Worth layover, our final flight of November 19th, 23 was American Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8 registered November 327 Sierra Kilo. And this is American Airlines Flight 821. So always fantastic to get a really cool aircraft like this and find a way to change up this very iconic segment that I've done many times. But the note here is that normally the Boeing 737 MAX doesn't fly on this route, so it's always great when substitutions like this happen. So that being said, it's really fun to really just take in the entire Dallas bank on this evening, and that last flight of the day out mentality. It's always fun. So anyways, really enjoyed it, made it home right on time, and we wrapped up a really successful Chicago weekend. And then finally, once again, to finish this all out, I did one more fun day trip, and this was a full ULCC day trip here for 2023. So let's go ahead and talk about what happened. So I took Frontier and Spirit to maximize what they were doing. And this was the December 19th day trip on 2023. We took F9 1927 from Oklahoma City to Denver on an A321neo in seat 6A. And this was at the time when Frontier didn't fly to Tulsa, so that's why I made the drive over to Oklahoma City to get this beautiful $19 flight. Anyway, so this aircraft, we took it into Denver, and it was delivered exactly 4 months prior to the flight, which is pretty cool. So it provided excellent choice as it had the LEV engines, which you were able to hear real good from 60, made for a quieter ride compared to the A321 CEO. The cabin was freshly, it had the fresh factory feel, and on-time performance was also a win and very much needed for our very quick connection on the next flight. And Mandy the Squirrel Monkey provided a very enjoyable impression. So our next flight was on Spirit before they pulled out of Denver. This is on NK1203 from Denver to Las Vegas. And this was on their Airbus A320 registered November 632 November Kilo and seat 28F. So we got on this aircraft and it actually had the old Skittles crown birthday cake, whatever you want to call it, livery, which is really great to get this aircraft. Always love flying the old livery, and I've been fortunate to do it a couple times. So this was certainly very enjoyable, and this was a great surprise at the gate. Unfortunately, this aircraft was retired in December of 2024. But anyway, fortunately, we were able to make it on this aircraft. We got a free window seat out of the auto selection, so that was great. And we made our way over on the short hop, and there was a couple of great views of the Grand Canyon on the way. And as we made it in, we had some cool views of Las Vegas as we landed onto their main runways there to 25s. So after a fun Las Vegas layover, we made our last flight of the day on F9 3892 from Las Vegas to Oklahoma City on an A321 CEO, as mentioned, 705 Foxtrot Romeo, which is essentially Ferdinand the Penguin Owl, which is pretty interesting, on seat 6F. So this was great, and another clean cabin, smooth boarding process, and pretty uneventful flight, though there was some good views as the sun went down. And this was a really good ULCC experiment for today. Really enjoyed the cheap flights and glad to maximize the opportunities there. And it overall is just so enjoyable. So those were the final flights of 2023. We had some classic aircraft, we had some wide bodies, we had some vintage warbirds, and even some ultra low cost carriers. This was really a great way to finish out the year with all these opportunities. And feel free to let me know what you all think about all this in 2023 here in the comments below. I'm really excited to finally make some progress, and I'm very excited for all of what we're covering in 2024. With those flights, we have the West Coast and Hawaii trip where we'll do independent trip ports for the Hawaiian A330, Delta 767, among others, so stay tuned for those. We'll have a bunch of really cool plane spotting as well, and then what I intend to do is put the flights from January to March together, and then we will do some independent videos in April for some of those day trips due to the complexity and also craziness of what happened on April 1st and 3rd of that year. Nevertheless, though, a bunch of really exciting videos as we continue to move forward. I hope all of you are excited. Let me know what you all think, and let me know what you think about the format. But I think this is a pretty consolidated and efficient way to already go over what we filmed. Or, sorry, what we've covered on my channel, So with that being said, that'll do it for today's video, everybody. We will continue to make it through the immense backlog of flights. I think we've made it through, like, hopefully 125 or 150. But that being said, we're closing in on 500. So we really need to just keep working it. My goal is to not get any farther than 2 years behind. I think we will be successful in doing just that. But take it easy, everybody. Stay safe, trust the process, do what you love, and love what you do. My name's CM Aviation. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon as CM Aviation is signing off.